Day 0 or Day 1, however you want to look at it, of E3 has come and gone, and as always, both Microsoft and Sony battled it out on stage, showing off new gameplay trailers of already announced games such as The Division and Uncharted 4, and of course there were new IPs to really whet the appetite. We also witnessed two of the press conferences on Monday from EA and Ubisoft, who demonstrate some of the cool things they have in store for us gamers. Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining me for my roundup of Day 0/Day 1 of E3. So in this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and opinions with you guys of what really stood out to me in those four press conferences on Monday, and because there's a lot to get through, let's begin. And I'm going to try and do this in some sort of order. So starting first with the Microsoft press conference. Boom, straight away they announced that the Xbox One will have backwards compatibility. That is amazing for Xbox users, and I'm sure it'll come in handy for, well, the majority of gamers who have had those days. And don't say you haven't, because I know you have, because I have, where I've wanted to go back and play an older game, to go through the story again, or to play just a specific mission of said game. And now you're going to be able to do that if you own an Xbox One come this holiday. I do think it's going to be interesting to see how they go about multiplayer on games such as Halo and Call of Duty. That's if those games are actually available for the backwards compatibility. I think they've just got a set list at the moment, and I'm not sure whether those two are included, but there's probably time for that as the years go on. We'll just have to wait and see as we get closer to the release date. Up next, and probably one of my favourite announcements of the Microsoft press conference, was that Gears of War will be returning with a fourth installment to the series. I'm just so glad it's back, because I absolutely adored the first three, especially on co-op, playing with the friends. The amount of fun that was had, it's just one of those games as well where you can really get lost in its story, get lost in the Gears world. It was fantastic, and I'm sure Gears of War 4 is going to be even better. I'm going to have to go out now and get an Xbox One just so I can play this game. We're going to have to wait until next year, though, until it's released. But if you're a fan of Gears of War like me, then that's okay, because I believe the Gears of War remaster version 1 to 3 is going to be released this August. So that should keep you going until Gears of War 4 is upon us. Now, what really impressed me, what really blew me away from yesterday's Microsoft press conference was the HoloLens. I mean, what a time to be a gamer. If you're not sure what the HoloLens is, if you missed the press conference yesterday, you can see it on your screen right now as I'm going on about it. But it's amazing how you can just, like, project what you're seeing. They were playing Minecraft at the time. It was a specific version for the HoloLens. And you can project it up onto your wall, or if you want, you could go 3D on your table. I mean, it just looked incredible. He was playing multiplayer with the woman that was also on stage with him at the time, and you can see how he's just moving the map along, seeing where he's at, and I think they even go into the building as well. You know, if you go in, just taking a look around with your head, you can actually see the character in the building. What a time. Seriously, what a time to be a gamer. I'm not sure how they would do it, how they would go about it, but just imagine if you could use the HoloLens for games such as, let's say, Call of Duty or Battlefield. You would be there, you would be in that battleground. I mean, what a way to experience gaming. It's certainly experiencing it on a different level. Maybe this is the next thing to console gaming. Maybe this is what we have planned for the future. I mean, technology, just, you could go on about it all day, how far it's come over just a short amount of time, really. It's incredible. I mean, look at this, how he's zooming around the map and watching his teammate on the map moving around. It's fantastic, and I want to see more from the HoloLens. I want to see what else they can bring to the table, with no pun intended. So yeah, that kind of really blew me away from the Microsoft press conference. What about you guys? Let me know what you think of the HoloLens in the comments below. Finally, from the Microsoft press conference, something that really made me want an Xbox One, because this is an Xbox exclusive from the game developers Rare. They're back, and back with a brand new franchise called Sea of Thieves. And as you would expect from Rare, it's stylized, it's cartoony, it's slick, it's pretty neat from what we saw. and it's going to be first person. It's a shared adventure, so you're going to be able to team up with your mates to become a band of thieves on the high seas. Expect to witness many mutinies and many pirates stranded on a desert island. It's going to be hilarious. It looks like a really fun game to get involved with. I'm hoping for things like loads of customization. I'm sure that will be added along the way. It just looks like a fun game which you can sit back and chill on with your hearties. There was no release date announced, but we do know that it is going to be an Xbox exclusive, so you're not going to be able to get this on the PS4, so another reason why I'm going to have to get an Xbox One, because this is certainly a game I want to check out. As the Microsoft press conference went on, one thing was bugging me. I was thinking to myself, well, hold on, we all know that Call of Duty is getting released late this year, so why haven't Microsoft put it up? Where's the gameplay? Where's the multiplayer? Where's the showcase of Call of Duty, one of the biggest franchises in gaming today? Well, it's no longer an exclusive to Xbox, it's now an exclusive to the PlayStation. I couldn't help but feel as the event went on, when we got to see the PlayStation press conference a bit later on in the day, that there was a shift of alliances. I know maybe I'm looking too much into it there because EA, they're with both, but they obviously were plugging their EA access on the Xbox in the Microsoft press conference, and it just seemed as though EA had gone with Microsoft, whereas Activision had gone with Sony. It baffles me why there can't just be this platform parity, why everyone can't get the DLC every month at the same time. Why has one console got to wait a month later? It really annoyed me a couple of years ago. As the years have gone on, I've kind of fallen out of love with Call of Duty, so to me it kind of feels as though they're a bit late on this now, coming exclusive to the PlayStation. A lot would say that the Call of Duty franchise is dead, and I hope for the sake of the developers of Black Ops 3 that this is their best piece of work to date, and that it's a turning point for the Call of Duty series. But you know what, on the other hand, I think we're going to be kind of hard pushed to find that with Black Ops 3. I think, you know, with all the tech and machinery and new guns and everything, it's all very nice to look at and nice to use for like the first couple of days, but is it going to make us want to keep coming back day in, day out? And will we want to buy the DLC every month? I'm not sure. This could potentially be my last Call of Duty, folks. I'm not sure about you. Let me know in the comments below. As you guys know, if you've been following me for a while now, if you've been subscribed to this channel and followed me on Twitter and Facebook, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series. I don't care about these people that say, oh, Ubisoft, they're milking the series now, bringing a game out every year. I don't care about that. I just love the story between the Assassins and the Templars, spread out over centuries in the past. You know, we've been to the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Golden Age of piracy, and now we're going to be heading into the Industrial Revolution, set in the heart of Victorian London. I mean, how cool's that? We've seen Big Ben and what Ubisoft have done, how they've captured that, and Westminster Abbey as well. It all looks very nice, and I just can't wait to get going and get into the boots of Jacob Fry and his twin sister Evie Fry. Yeah, we're going to be able to play as those two characters in this year's Assassin's Creed. There is going to be no multiplayer, so no co-op option like we saw in Assassin's Creed Unity, which I think maybe had an effect on the actual outcome and people's thoughts towards that game. Now, because Syndicate is set in Victorian London, we're not going to be allowed to have our sword at our side this time. We're going to have like a pimp cane which has a sword inside. We're going to have brass knucks and revolvers, and last but not least, we're going to have our gang, the Rooks, to watch our back. I'm not sure about you, but I can't wait to get exploring Victorian London with Jacob and Evie Fry. If I was a Star Wars fan, I would be extremely excited at the moment. What we saw from Star Wars Battlefront at the EA press conference was mind-blowing. It was amazing. And just seeing all the different things that you can do made me want the game and become a Star Wars fan. I mean, it does pay me to say that I've never watched the films before, and don't worry, I've had so many people on my back say, you need to watch, I think it was 4, 5 and 6, which are masterpieces according to them. I just don't know why I've never got round to it in the past, but seeing this multiplayer video just made me want to get it. It looks so cool, so clean, and the attention to detail was spot on. It's running on the Frostbite engine. The explosions, there was explosions everywhere. The music was there, the classic Star Wars music by John Williams, it was there. And I tell you what, it so needs for that music to be playing whilst you are playing as well. If it's not, they've really missed a beat on that. It was just so epic. And that last moment between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader was immense. I mean, this is coming from a non-Star Wars fan, someone that's never watched it. And I'm so excited for you Star Wars fans and the possibility of having personal battles within the battle. It's immense, it's epic. I mean, Luke Skywalker storming towards Darth Vader and them tying up. Incredible. How long has it been since The Division was first announced at E3? It's got to be somewhere like 4 or 5 years, surely. And the game still isn't out. Earlier this year, it did get delayed until next year, but we wasn't too sure when until the Ubisoft press conference. We have an official release date. It will be out 8th of March 2016. I'm just happy it's not going to be released Christmas time 2016. I don't think I can wait that long, especially after the gameplay they showed us of the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone is the online PvP section of the map in The Division. This is the place you're going to be doing battle with other players. They're all there for the same reason that you are, the valuable loot. As we saw in the trailer, we're following these 3 characters which we've seen over previous videos. They were heading into the Dark Zone and they had 2 other players sneak up behind them. Now, they didn't engage with each other because there was another group of players up ahead and they decided to take them all out together. Work as a team, that was the best way they could get to this loot. They pilfered everything, and as they was heading for extraction, player number 1 killed them all, took their loot and went home. God, The Division is gonna be awesome. If you haven't played Uncharted yet, what are you waiting for? If not, go and check out some playthroughs on YouTube. I would probably plug one of my own series, but I haven't actually done a walkthrough of Uncharted 1 to 3 yet, so watch this space. But Uncharted 4 was the last game to be shown at the Sony press conference, and we got gameplay. I was hoping for gameplay and we got it, instead of a CGI trailer or something like that. Now, just like The Division, Uncharted 4 has been delayed until next year, and, you know, I'm kind of happy with that, as long as it means it's going to be a nice, final, polished game, and that it gives the developers more time to make sure it's a perfect piece of art. And I say art because, well, Naughty Dog don't know anything else. They are, in my opinion, one of the finest game developers around today. And I have every belief that they've created yet another masterpiece. We saw enough with the first 3 Uncharted games and, of course, The Last of Us. So if you haven't got a PS4 and you've been thinking about getting one recently, I think this really should make your mind up. I mean, look at all the small details for Uncharted 4. That guy getting knocked into that, what would you call it, like a plant holder sort of woods crate? I'm not too sure, but the destruction that was being showed off here by Naughty Dog was brilliant, almost giving EA and their Frostbite engine a run for its money. The driving physics looked so realistic and so crisp, and it was good to see that the spare wheel and the jerry can on the back of the Jeep was actually moving. If this was on the PS3, those things would have been stationary, you know, that they wouldn't have been able to have moved. And how good is it to see Sully again? I must say, I've missed that fella, and we're going to be able to see his porno tash now in full 1080p with all the polygons and everything. We saw it at the start of this trailer. It's good to see Sully. It's good to be almost reunited with Drake and Sully and the gang again. And wherever Drake goes, there's always going to be some kind of action. I love this moment with the Jeep, the 4x4 going up the mud bank, and I mean, just look at how the car had been battered after everything they'd been through. One little thing that did kind of bug me was that moment there as the 4x4 went through the water. There wasn't even a simple ripple. There was no water spraying up the side. I mean, we know Naughty Dog have done brilliant work when it comes to water effects. Maybe it's just something they need to iron out closer to release. And to finish up this video, guys, I've saved the best till last, just like Ubisoft did last night at their press conference. The ghosts are back. Yes, for me, this, hands down, is probably the best announcement of E3 this year. Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's going to be set in Colombia, Bolivia, I believe, with the cocaine trade being the reoccurring theme. Ghost Recon Wildlands is going to be an open world adventure. We're going to be able to travel from point A to point B on a quad bike, a motorcycle, dune buggy, a car, a van. We got a glimpse in the trailer of the map, and on the map was loads of targets which we had to take out. We only saw one mission though, which was approached in a couple of ways. To get to the target White Hat at his drug lab, you can either take the stealth option and go in the cover of darkness. At night time, obviously, there's going to be that nighttime, daytime cycle. Or you could go in guns blazing in the daytime. Or, as we saw in the trailer as well, you can have one ghost take up position in the mountains and use his sniper rifle to take out the target. Multiplayer, I think, for Ghost Recon is essential, especially after Ghost Recon Future Soldier, because the multiplayer in that game did take up a lot of my time. It was so addictive, I really enjoyed it, and I think the gunsmith certainly added that unique and realistic experience to the game. I wouldn't mind multiplayer in Wildlands being similar to Ghost Recon Future Soldier, but with a few more maps. We need a few more maps with a few more weapons than what Future Soldier offered, and of course we need that little bit more customization, you know, with gear and what your character looks like. No release date was announced. Obviously you had your jokers on Twitter and across social media saying we're probably not going to hear anything about this game now for another 3 years or so, but I hope that's not the case. I hope we maybe get a release date for maybe late this year. I think that's pushing it big time. Maybe next year. Either way, I cannot wait for this game. It is going to be off the charts. As I mentioned, it's probably my favourite announcement of this year's E3. And that, guys, is going to be the end of this episode. Hope you've all enjoyed hearing my thoughts and opinions on what stood out to me on day 0, day 1 of E3 this year. That's all from me then. Thanks for watching.